Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to a high-level professional match of StarCraft 2. Today, in the top left, spawning as our blue TERRAN player. Playing for Team DKZ, it is the world champion of the world, Oliveira. And in the bottom right, also for Team Dragon, Kaizi Gaming has himself spinning around his hatchery rather than the logo of the clan, because he is the most important man in the world. It is, of course, Dark. Oh, ooh, look at that. The educated viewers have already spotted it, as I have. You see a fast third hatchery and a lack of an extractor here coming out of Dark. This is often described as a gasless opener because it doesn't mine any gas and thus gasless. This seems to carry significant risk in the current meta, in the current patch. The reason for that is that without link speed, cyclones are extremely difficult to tackle. Now, if Oliveira gets a quick scout off, figures out what's going on, perhaps a response with 2 cyclones is viable over here. It's important for him to get that read first, though. It is very important for Oliveira to get that read. As the Queen is pushing away, the Reaper wants to throw down a creep tumor. It's gonna be capable of doing that. Here comes a bump. Oh, nice move. Well, would have been a nice move. What? Lol. Hey, Dark's feeling Terran good. What is this? Dark's feeling feisty today. Holy crap. He's going all out. Dark with some choice words here for the world champ. As the 4 links make their way across the map, Oliveira has scouted the fast hatchery. He's not responding in the way that I had imagined with a cyclone. Instead, we see a mine drop here, or at least an initial mine coming out. Quick tech lab as a follow-up. Not entirely sure about this build order given the situation of the game. Losing that Reaper is painful because that was really the only tool that Oliveira would have on the map in the next, well, minute or so. As he isn't going for Hellions, he's not going for Cyclones. It's instead going to be a medevac. Now the double extractors are going down. And I believe that Dark is going to skip the link speed here in favor of a Roachworm that we'll see plop down relatively soon. The moment these gases start mining is the usual timing. And the thing that gasless does is that it gives you a crap ton of money. Like, legitimately a crap ton of money. The longer you delay your gases, the better it tends to be for your economy. And that is true for every single race. However, most races require gas quickly in order to do things properly. Look at this Marine. He's just walking on a texture there. That shouldn't be entirely possible, but we'll pretend that it didn't happen. Everything in the patch and the maps is implemented correctly. As the Roachworm in the natural is a little bit over halfway done. 4 Overlords on the way for Dark, who did walk into a significant supply block here. Lair on the way as well. It's 3 more Overlords start here. And we're gonna have a Roach game with 11 more drones. That is gnarly. This initial pressure can just be held with pure Queens though. So, yeah, I kind of like, honestly, the high drone count here. 57 to 40. There is no third CC here. So this is a 2-base. We could call this all in at this point. We could call this all in. And I don't quite think it's going to work out here because Dark is already producing roaches of 60 drones right now. It's really difficult to die with roaches. Dark is going to clean this up as well without any major trouble. Did he even lose anything? Lost a Queen, 4 links and an Overlord. That Overlord was at home. And he skilled a medevac, a mine, and 6 Marines. And of course, had the Reaper earlier as well. Now getting a 4th base. Unless Dark really wets the bed in the next few minutes, this is starting to look like a very proper start here for the Zerg Challenger, who isn't too happy with the balance of StarCraft 2 when it comes to Terran, apparently. As he did mention that Terran is quite good momentarily. Of course, a statement that I think all of us can sympathize with. You can see the creep continue to spread behind these bushes, which is pretty funny. Like, we know that the creep is here, but because there's no vision being generated, we're not aware of it yet. Now we're gonna see it. Like, oh, there's a lot of creep there. Is that a nice surprise? Looks very weird. There's a odd little interaction there. Usually there's already vision of where, you know, the creep is going, but not quite yet. Thanks now. Oh, this is a nasty position that Oliveira is looking at the moment. fourth base being taken. You can see some potential tank spots. Even just having them like semi on the ramp is going to be quite a big thing already. Or just having one a bit further in the back. Maybe both a bit further in the back. Yeah, this is a good position. Here comes a roach flank now being set up. Roach speed not done yet. 1-1 not done yet. I wonder if Dark wants to fight this. The answer is yes, he wants to fight that. Is this the correct call is the next question. It seems okay. Perhaps not the tightest engagement he could have had, but he's going to clean up both of those tanks. He's fighting off those marines and he's decreasing the overall marine count. Didn't lose as many queens as I was afraid of him losing. He's still at 6. All of them are kind of in the front, so his injects are going to be delayed a little bit. We see the main and the natural not being injected at the moment, as he had a 160 supply. 91 of that army supply, 69 of that worker supply. His opponent on 41 army supply without a third base. This is an issue. Now, I would recommend to Dark here to not attack into a natural. That usually goes horribly wrong, especially if there's any amount of tanks in position. Depots are being lowered for whatever reason, now being raised once more. Accidental pickup here as one tank falls. Significant damage though being dealt by those tanks in the back with the splash. 8 kills on that tank, and those marines definitely helping out. 11 drones now start for Dark as he realizes he can't quite kill his opponent and wants to perhaps transition into a bit of a longer game, or well, he's forced to transition into a bit of a longer game as he starts his metabolic boost while still going for the range upgrades. I had kind of expected a Ravager Link Bane follow-up, but it seems like he's sticking with his guns, with his ranged guns. Wants to continue pushing in. I'd much prefer if he sets up a little bit of a later timing here, or if he just doesn't set up a timing, maybe quicker tech. Almost feels like this Roach timing is doomed to fail. There are 3 tanks out already at the moment, with a 4th tank on the way. These positions are hard to engage into as well. This is something we shouldn't forget. If this is a different type of map with a more wide open third base, it is much easier to go in and clear those tank lines. And I love these little depots that are just being used purely as kind of how rocks are being used, you know, just making it into the terrain. Like he doesn't actually need, well, he also actually needs the depots, never mind. He needs the depots and he's using them for something nice. So just going to force these roaches to really clump up, and that's going to make the tanks much better. Dark at 76 workers right now as he's setting up for another attack, and I feel like he's kind of hitting a non-timing here. Doesn't really have any upgrade boost with it. Doesn't have an insane army lead either. He's forced back with part of his army. He's gonna go for it. Let's have a look. Maybe he can just do it. There's only 3 tanks sieged up. 4th tank is just unsieged right now. Nice split up. Dark is the king of taking engagement. So far, however, hasn't taken out a single tank, which is a significant issue. First tank now is being biled, but there was only 2 of them. We're gonna need some more for that. 2 tanks will fall. The army supply lost here. I think heavily in favor of Oliveira. On top of that, Oliveira's in the main base. This wasn't being dealt with. A layer going down as well as 15, 16 workers. And where before it looked like our Chinese Terran player was in an unplayable position, right now it's definitely not an unplayable position. This looks very okay. He's going to have faster 3-3 upgrades. I don't think Dark is going to be capable of busting his opponent, but Dark is kind of forced into trying here because there's no proper follow-up for him. This is such an awkward situation that Dark finds himself in. I feel proper bad for the guy. Creep spread, don't get me wrong, is phenomenal. His worker count isn't as great anymore. His upgrades are still fine, but 1+3 finishes. Of course, Oliveira is going to take a lead there. And I'm just really curious what Dark's plans are going to be. It seems impossible to attack into this third base area for Zerg. If there's any amount of tanks above 2, it feels difficult. This 5th, 6th, what is it? The 7th base is going to get cancelled. This is the 6th over here on the far right. This is the 5th. And then that gold was the 7th. This is something that Dark perhaps should have done before trying to push with the roaches. Still feel like that roach push was a little bit... a bit over eager, perhaps. He was too keen on that roach push in my mind. "11 Ravagers out. He's gonna go for it again. Didn't work the last 2 times, and this time the position is significantly worse. If his goal is to just deny the 4th base temporarily, then I then I agree with that goal. I think that is an okay goal to have. If the goal here is to take a trade, I find that a confusing one. Army supply very high for Dark. Worker count extremely low. He's on 54 workers, which practically makes this an all-in. And trust me, this is not an all-in you want to be on the giving end in, because this is not a very good all-in right now. He's 188 supply to 199. There's about 8 tanks out. I think double factories have been pumping them out at a high pace. Here comes a stim in forward. Marine Marauder having a good old time as Overlords are being blasted here. Vehicle weapons level 1 finishes up right now, and I almost feel like that Oliveira could move across the map with these tanks. I think he is set up in a position right now where it's like, well, if he can get any type of distraction out on the map, and whether it's going to be a double drop or even perhaps this Liberator harass, forcing portions of this army back, I think a slow, methodical leapfrogging move out is definitely viable here. But this creep needs to go. It can't stay around. It is not possible for this creep to be here and for Oliveira to move out on the map. As the final tanks are now coming into kind of round of this army. And I'm loving this move out. Perhaps too many medevacts being boosted towards that far right, and it is being spotted as well. The Liberators are sieging up. Dark extremely quick when it comes to dealing with this type of threat. He hardly ever takes any serious damage against it. He's really, really fast. Has insane map vision majority of the time. Goes on a couple of biles. When it comes to army movement, army splitting, just responding to threats on the mini-map and setting up fights, I think Dark is one of the best, if not the best player in the world. He's so ridiculously fast. That type of Liberator harass almost never works against him. His army composition is quite poor, as we can see. 20 Ravagers, 20 Roaches, 2 Vipers. His main base is going to get sniped. The first Viper is now out. Second Viper is also out. So 2 Vipers are out, one could say. Gold base is mining on the far left, as Dark has managed to drone up back to 69. These biles will connect. Pretty decently sized deal. I think this hatch should still fall unless Oliveira completely butches this one up. Alright, there we go. Does not quite mess it up completely. Viking in the middle of nowhere over here. So we've hit a bit of a slow spot here in this game right now. On Golden Aura. 5th base is going to be hard for Oliveira. I think he needs to take it at the 9 o'clock. Yeah, he has it positioned towards the right, but it seems like a dream. And a very unrealistic dream as well. It's not one of them realistic ones where you wake up in cold sweat, wondering if it's true that you have a failing grade for your geography exam and as a result need to redo the final year and thus ruining your StarCraft career. No, it's not one of those. It's an unrealistic one. He's gonna take the 9 o'clock as he should. Spire is on the way. So... well, what's that mean? Perhaps that Dark wants to go into Brutes. It's too early for Brutes. It's simply too early for it. This is also a really weird map for Brutes, because you do have these passive neutral bases that are so far out, and they force you to be spread out thin. If Dark manages to mine this base out, and this base, then all of a sudden Brute Lords could be stronger, because you only have the right side really to care about. And I think the way that Dark is kind of setting up for a late game right now, positionally, is very strong. And in a way, Oliveira is looking weak, because Oliveira is expanding towards the left. And that makes sense, because it's easier for him to do. But the right side is what it's all going to be about in a minute or 3-4 from now. Unless we get any significant changes in the state of the game, the right side will be much, much more important. And Oliveira moving here towards the left side is perhaps short-term thinking. Ooh, a couple of these ghosts are being taken out. Good fight, surprisingly good fight there for Dark, who is doing all of this on a fairly primitive army. Ravager, couple of Banes, Ling, Roach, and then some Vipers mixed in. No Infestors, no Broodies, no Lurkers, no nothing. And a low Baneling count, most importantly. Now we're starting to add some higher Baneling numbers. The Vipers are going back in. I think these gases perhaps should have been saturated a bit faster, but just getting these minerals is already a very big deal here. Stark is also doing some minor mining from the far right side. Ling shows up on the potential 6th base here for Oliveira. So you have some trading between these two players. Medevacts get parasitic bombed. will probably end up dying. Medevac count fairly low. Is there really only 2 left? Okay, there's 3 medevacs left right now. That is a very low number. Oliveira tries to siege one of his tanks up a little bit further in, as the creep is regressing just a tiny tad. Snipe hits an overseer. Resources lost 5k in favor of Oliveira. This is the trend that should continue well into the late game. Good scan. Oliveira sees that there's a right side base. Is aware of the left side base as well and wants to push it. I think he's going to get there too late, simply. He might be in time for the gas, but he's going to be too late for a majority of the minerals, as, well, golds tend to mine out very quickly. More than half has already been taken out of this base, I'm pretty sure. And I don't see this base falling in the next, well, minute or so. So there's going to be at least another minute and a half of mining on that base. This open area is beautiful to fight in for Dark as well, and he wants to keep this. The moment he loses this area, he loses the base. And he wants to stretch that timing of mining on that base for as long as possible, and for very good reason. Oliveira continues moving in forward. Of course, there's a very heavy tank count. Doesn't really have any bio to speak of whatsoever. Just set up with tanks over here. Adding in the Hellbats, we have the Blue Flame, we have the +3 vehicle weapons as well. Such a low amount of medevacs. His army, it doesn't feel so well rounded, and now there's brutes on the way without a single Thor coming out. I love how Dark is just kind of analyzing and identifying what unit would be correct here, and it seems he's just one step ahead at all times of Oliveira. He had a very good early game and then a very poor mid game, but when it comes to the late, Dark is just such a phenomenal player, really. It's crazy to watch. And he doesn't even need to win a fight, but I think he can, and he starts pushing forward just a little bit, just to make sure that he has a chance here. Just wants to poke forward. He's not committing too hard. Loses 3 or 4 infestors, which is kind of a big deal. No target fire by these tanks on the infestor. Sloppy play by Oliveira. He's losing majority of his tank line right now. That means that this base is going to continue mining as well, which is really the only thing Dark cares about. Dark doesn't necessarily care about having super efficient fights, although he is having efficient fights. Let's be real here. He's having very efficient fights. EMP misses. Viking should get taken out at some point in the near future. Bailing's now rolling in forward. I think moving down this ramp could be a mistake, as the first Thors are now streaming in as well. There's 2 out. With the +3 vehicle weapons, that's significant damage output. Don't forget that these Brood Lords have 0 upgrades. They have nothing. Nada. No carapace, no attack. So really the only reason why they're doing well is because the tanks are splashing on top of one another. But the impact damage isn't quite as high as you'd like it to be. There's no infestors now. I think that's going to be the end of these broods. Unless there's a secret trick that Dark is aware of that I'm not quite aware of. He's going to try and fly them back. He's going to lose a couple of them on the retreat, and there's only 4 left right now. And I think this is all that Dark really wanted. He secured the left side base and now says, hey, I want to go back into a much more mobile army. And it's these switches between not necessarily specific units, but between a type of speed in the army that makes Dark's play so impressive. So he's really just... I'm not saying he's trying to get rid of these Brood Lords, but he's using them to the best of his ability still here in the dying seconds, while completely transitioning in pure Hydra, Ling, Ravager, Bane. A couple of Vipers with it, perhaps. Love these Infestor Burrows here as well. That could be big, that could be huge. Big scan, though, is going to catch one of these Infestors, but the other one gets a huge hit with the fungal. Ghosts are going down at a high pace. Resources lost, still as close as it was, well, about 10, 12k resources ago, which is a good sign for Zerg usually, especially if you've just managed to mine out one of the neutral bases, or are very close to mining out one of the neutral bases. This patch is still looking massive, by the way. Not entirely sure how that is possible, but it has happened. How is this patch still at 1k? It makes no sense, but it is what it is. We have 3 Thors and Medevacs right now. Army supply is still great, of course, here for Oliveira, who says, hey, I want to fight you on the right side, except there's nothing on the right side. And Dark right now is also mining this base, which is brilliant. If he mines the gas and the minerals from here, if he mines the minerals from here, he's going to be in such a good spot, set up in for the late game, and I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving the way he's playing this. And now Oliveira, I think, realizes, like, hey, wait a second, my focus should be on the right side. My focus should be on the right side. And I think Dark I mean, Dark still has the ability to spread his opponent thin right now. He says, hey, I want a mobile army. I can attack the left side planetary, which has some minerals. Decent amount of gas as well. And at the same time, I want to be capable of perhaps busting a base over here. Here we go. Do we have target fire from that planetary? We don't really. A couple of these banelings do get taken out as the planetary falls. 9 workers going down here as well. Oliveira moves in position. We see a single baneling being burrowed on top of this. Will get scanned and does die. Broodlord still alive. This is such a wild army composition that Dark is playing with. His bank is fairly low. Let's face facts here. He has a small bank, but he's also denying his opponent's bases. He just cleared an orbital. Now he's going in with a Ling Bane attack. Ain't working here. I don't think so. He's gonna try to, you know, attack something. Did the Broodlords just die? No, they moved into the dead space. A pretty cool move, actually. This is such a beautiful angle that Dark is taking here. Taking out both the orbital and the planetary is a fairly big deal. There's no backup CC. There is an orbital that can lift, but I think this base is toast and it's not going to be mining anytime soon. Broodlords are going to continue their path on. Maybe into this base a little bit. As the main army now rotates towards the far right side. Dark is finishing mining this base. Has mined more than half of one of the geysers as well. This is just some sick play out of Dark, honestly. Whose focus is now going to be on that right side. And I think Oliveira wishes he had cleaned this creep a little bit earlier. So he's going to take the watchtower. We have a Ling burrow on the top right. And there's 2 things that Dark can do right now. Dark can say, hey, I want to start mining from this base. Or he can say, I want to actively deny you from mining. And I think both of these paths can lead to victory. Oliveira, however, says, I want to deny this base. And this makes a lot of sense. He needs to deny one of his opponent's base. But that does mean that he doesn't have a lot of defenses in the left side. Or on the left side. Broodlord still moving in forward as well. Where are the Thors? They're on the far right. Dark taking a couple of decent trades here. Not brilliant. And needs to be careful as his bank truly is running out. He's forced to pull away from this base right now. We do see that the income is still favoring Dark in a big way. There's a lot of gas in the bank as well. Lynx, get the surround on the Hellions. Good quick pickup there by Oliveros, morphing instantly into those Hellbat. Means they can be healed by that medevac. The 4 brutes, they have very little kills amongst them, but they've been responsible for some serious damage here to the Terran army. At the same time, surround on a couple of them Ghost. 95 army supply to 108. Dark is playing a sick game over here. Really sick game. It's crazy to me how hard he tried to throw it in the mid game, then just to take it back in the late. Like, these roach moves were so bad. Why would you risk it all if this is what your late game looks like? If your late game is this crazy, if your late game is this good, if your understanding is this powerful, why the hurry? You know, where do you have to be, buddy? Where are you going that you want to finish this game ASAP? Infestor now moving forward underground. Income slightly favoring Dark here as he's re-establishing this hatchery. This is a very important base that Dark needs to deny. Big fungal hits all of these ghosts. Oh my god, fungal flank! Look at that! Infestors popping out from everywhere. These lurkers kind of out of range to truly help out. But they're not out of range if they're gonna attack into this orbital. There's not even a planetary here. This is serious trouble. This is serious trouble. Oliveira decides to pull the trigger on a base trade. These tanks are not going to be good enough to hold here, as all of them get taken out practically instantly. Dark says, hey, you want a base trade? I'm okay with that, actually. We can dance if you want to, and you can leave all your orbitals behind. Your orbitals definitely don't dance. These guys are gonna burn. And that's what's happening indeed. They're all up in the air. Mining is being denied here. And army supplies relatively equal. This might actually come down to a single fight. The problem is, how will you see the lurkers without orbitals? There's 2 orbitals remaining. There's 3 orbitals remaining right now. This CC is not going to be mining. Oh my god, this is turning into a banger of a game, isn't it? Lurkers moving back home will deal with this drop. Mining continues here. Oliveira is going to take way more time than his opponent here to deal with everything. Oh, Liberator's actually taking stuff out. There's no anti-air. There is no anti-air whatsoever. 2 Hydras now being produced. That's at the incorrect bases, though. Everything should be produced right now at this particular base. Oh no. This would be the saddest way to lose, is because you don't have any anti-air whatsoever. He wants to force a lift on this base. He wants to kill it. He wants so that it can't be repaired. He's gonna get the kill on an orbital. Huge moves here. Massive moves. There's a bunch of scans available. These are going to be important. What are you doing, Mr. Hydra? Piss off over here. You're important. 3 more Hydras on the way. There still is mining going on. As Hydras and Lynx are burrowing in the main, there's plenty of Overlords around. That is the beauty of Zerg, of course, is that their supply depots can fly. Oliveira seriously supply blocked right now. 64 supply in army for Dark versus 76. As 3 Infestors are being added into the mix as well. Lynx now being once again rerouted in towards the main. How many scans do we have? We have no scans remaining. That's it. That is it. That was the last scan. Good luck pushing forward, my friend. Without the healing, you're gonna have to wait for every scan. Lynx are in the main base. I think Oliveira is dead. I don't see how he can win here. He doesn't have tanks to clear the spores, which means he needs to move into this range. He's gonna get another scan off. Wait, where did that come from? Guess from this one. I'm gonna try to get a couple of snipes in. Infestors now hitting as well. Oop, big EMP. Connect with all of them at the same time. Love to see it. Massive link run by being sent across the map. There's currently just a complete lack of vision here. You have an 8 marine drop being sent back home. I mean, the moment these orbitals are forced to lift, that's pretty much it, no? 1 lurker gets sniped. That's big. 2nd lurker needs to get sniped here as well. Another lurker. Yes, no, maybe. Lots of cash in the bank as well for Dark, who is rebuilding his pool. Has 7 larvae remaining, is now long distance mining is on the left side. This base is gonna fall. This base is gonna fall as well. There's a massive timer right now that is active. Tick tock, Oliveira. But there's nothing he can do about it. He needs 1 more scan. He's not gonna get it. He scanned way too actively on the way over here. He was afraid of burrowed lurkers on hold position. And for a good reason, because that's something that Dark definitely tends to do, but... Oh no. What a terrible, terrible way to lose a game. As Dark, I mean, he's just going to be building links from here on out. He can. Just pure Ling Infestor, I think, is going to be the plan. Is rebuilding a hatchery on what was once the 5th base of Oliveira. This starts to burn right now. And he needs to throw down a mule to repair. He needs to throw down a mule to repair. But instead he uses a scan. This is it. It is now or never. He jumps on top of this army. Gets a couple of good hits. Oh no. Lurkers are dying. There's more. 2 staying alive. 2 stay alive. What a frustrating way of losing this game. 22 energy. I don't think he's going to get another one. I don't think he's going to get another one at all. As Infestors are burrowing right now, and they can do whatever they want while they're burrowed, because there's no scans available. Crazy little rotations here as well out of Dark. Just moving his units and spores around. This is such a sick game. Holy crap. Single Hydra now shooting down the Ghost Academy. Completely pointless, but fun nonetheless. And Oliveira here, he has no scans left. He can't do anything. He is dead. He is absolutely dead. Does it review burrowed units if you hit them with EMP? No. This is also what... Oliveira was like, wait, does it? I remember it revealing DTs. Does it do the same to burrows? Like, nope, doesn't. All right, I'm out of here. Leaves the game. What a sick game. Holy cow. This is the 2nd time that Golden Aura provides, like, just these insane late games. I think the properties of this map force a relatively boring or passive mid game, but then once like the first 5 bases, they're not as relevant anymore. It goes loose, and we have some of the best late games I think that I've seen are just being played on this particular map. I've seen 2 really sick games already here, and it's not your standard late games where people are just camping. So once again, big props to the builder of Golden Aura. I'm not a huge fan of how it plays out in the early stages and in the mid stages, but I freaking love how this map forces, for some reason, I don't know what it is, but I think it has something to do with these spread out bases. It forces just epic late games. Just these highly interactive games, and it's fun to watch. Both of them with Oliveira in it as well, by the way. So yeah, that's going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Bye bye!